Hello and welcome. You're watching Literati here on News Central Television. It's the ultimate hub for book lovers, thought-provoking ideas, and literary exploration. I'm your host, Judith Atibi. Literati brings stories to life, delving into the transformative power of words to educate, inspire, and even spark change. This is where literature connects with the heartbeat of society. So as always, get ready for insightful conversations, captivating narratives, and a true celebration of the written word. So let's face it, if you have ever worked in an office, you know it's a jungle out there, or better yet, a concrete jungle. From understanding the secret code of let's circle back, to navigating those awkward elevator moments with our boss. And today's guest has written the guidebook for surviving that concrete jungle, surviving it all with your sanity and sense of humor intact. The book is called 101 Workplace Secrets, an hilarious and unfiltered guide to corporate survival. Spills the real tea on office life and brutal honesty, as well as sharp humor. All that you want in a book. Let's meet the brilliant mind behind the book 101 Workplace Secrets. She's the founder of Beta Worker, or Beta Worker, a human resources firm tackling workplace behavioral challenges, and the creative force behind Discuss with Teju, which is a talk show focused on modern day issues. Now, Teju Fola-Alade is a powerhouse in business operations and human resources with over a decade of experience driving growth in Africa's digital tech sector. She's also the convener of Flex and Learn, an annual capacity development seminar, and the founder of Discuss with Teju. Well, please, without further ado, help me welcome my author and guest today on the show, Teju. Teju, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you for coming on to Literati and joining us on our set here.
Thank you very much, Judith. Thank you for having me.
It's wonderful for you to be here. I was saying earlier on in the green room that when I first picked up this book, I said, this is a lot of things to read. But when I started opening it, I was like, oh my God, it's so funny. And this is a pleasant surprise, you know what I mean? And also very needed in this ever-changing world of ours. So let me just start by asking, let's just delve right into this book. What inspired you to want to write 101 workplace secrets? Not one, not two, not even 100. You added Jara one on top of it. And you know, what inspired you to want to do it? Was there a corporate horror story for you that sort of spurred you and said, this book is needed?
Thank you once again, Judith. So there are so many corporate secrets, more than 101, right? Mm-hmm. But I've been working since 2008, right. And I've been exposed to a lot of jungle behaviors, a lot of situations where even for myself, I should have known better.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, it's not exactly like I've been compiling this list since 2008, but it's just there, you know, the residual knowledge. And another thing is you discover that a lot of people have sabotaged their careers because of things that they should ideally know that they shouldn't know. I mean, there are so many instances, even for myself, where I've goofed with my line managers, how to better manage team members. I mean, I still remember an instance where I had a situation with a reporting line, and looking back, I still feel very ashamed that I could have handled that relationship well.
Right.
So 101 Workplace Secrets is basically helping people deal with situations that they're not going to find in any handbooks. No one is going to sit down and be teaching you that, oh, this is what you should know. But there are some things that you should just know that if you're in the corporate, it's not your house, it's not your family home, it's not your siblings. You're dealing with people from different part of the world. You're dealing with people from different families. They have different behaviors. They have different expectations. And when you put people in a room that are coming from different organizations, a culture has been formed. Mm-hmm. So if you're joining an organization, if you're managing a new team member, if you're managing another person that it isn't someone you raised yourself, then you need to understand that there are guidelines, there are rules, there are unspoken rules that you need to understand to help you better manage people and also thrive in the workforce. And one of the things 101 Workplace Secrets also try to do is to also help people understand how leaders think. I've been privileged to work with quite a number of founders, a number of CEOs, some clients, business owners, and the way leaders think is different from the way maybe a mid-level or even a senior executive without any leadership title. So the book also helps that this is how your line manager is thinking and what you need to understand.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, you've done a perfect job in striking a balance between humor and hard truths.
Yeah.
Hence why we're not going to give away any secrets of this book. I want everyone to go, pick it up and read. But how did you choose humor as a weapon of choice to sort of tackle the serious workplace, especially corporate workplace issues?
Okay, so I mean, for people who know me, I can't pen anything without using humor. I'm big on humor. I have a huge book library at home. Recently, someone gifted me about 30 books.
Nice. Please let me have their contacts so I can make friends with them as well.
Which is a testament to how anyone who knows me knows that I love books, I love reading. But over time, I mean, growing up, M&B, Harlequin, my dad had a huge collection of James Hadley Chase. My brother and I used to read it growing up before 10, as far back. I did not a little brother. So I had a penchant for reading and even writing. I had lots of diaries that I used to write, pen my thoughts and all. But the older I grew, the more I became unwilling to spend so much time reading, right? But I discovered that with the advent of social media, people are interested in things that won't take so much of their time. So this is why you see reels, people watching more reels. You have less photos on social media and you have more videos, majority of it being less than 60 seconds, right? And I know that I wanted to do something different. I didn't want to write a book that someone would just throw into their library and just keep it there. I want something that will stand out when you open it. I mean, when I told someone, it's 210 pages, they're like, that's a lot. I said, no, 110 of it is, 101 of it, they're illustrations, they are pictures. Think Instagram with pictures. Then you have very less texty words guiding your words. So for me, humor, my social media pages, even in meetings, I use humor because people listen more, people relate more. If it's relatable, people will read it and the message will sink. So
you've had an extensive work experience, just working experience, whether in HR or business operations. You've had an extensive time, and now you're a 3-time founder. You have Better Worker, you have Talk with Teju, and now there's also you writing as well. What is the most outrageous workplace situation you've witnessed? One that felt stranger than fiction?
I can't share that because my work experience is out there, and anything I share people can easily say, this is the organization that she's talking about. But I think one of the things that I would say that is most outrageous is that sometimes when people get promoted, they struggle to leave their past experience. I think one of the most business owners, the things they complain about and why sometimes leaders struggle to promote internally is that when an employee moves through the ranks, there's usually a struggle to start acting in the new rank. For instance, if you promote someone from an officer to, let's say, a head of department, you discover that such employee may struggle to manage employees that were at the same level at some point. So these are some of the issues or some of the worries and concerns. And I've discovered as well that sometimes employees are unwilling to get promoted because they don't want to be promoted into competence. So some employees would outrightly tell you that they are okay with where they currently are because they know that I'm going to the next level is going to make me more visible to the leaders in this company, and they don't want that. So
I have a friend of mine who she's always made it very vocally, very clear that whenever they're doing the appraisals yearly and they ask her, oh, I think we should do this more, and then if you do that, you'll be, recommended. It will mean that you go up the ranks. She'll tell you, I don't have any interest. That's not my career goal. My career goal is to come here. I don't have a career goal. I just want to earn a living and go about my life, And there are people like that. And it doesn't mean that they're lackadaisical. It's just that they just don't aspire, to be
Absolutely.
upper management, or, they just want to be at the mid-management role, do their job and go home and forget about it. And not that she's not an excellent worker, it's just I would rather not take more opportunities and responsibilities. I just want to do my job and go home. It's tasking it already. But another thing about, corporate life or corporate world is that office politics is where they hire you for this job, and then I have to play politics for me to do my job efficiently, or go up the ranks, or be heard, or get something done. There's always that office politics, and how does one then, there are many professionals that struggle with it. In your book, you've offered some survival tips, some very practical things in terms of navigating that. But there are people out there who's like, I can't do it. So what's your ultimate strategy for navigating toxic office dynamics or even office politics in its entirety?
Right. Thank you, Judith. So, caveat emptor, I usually do not recommend people sticking in toxic environments, but I usually say that for as long as you're there, you have to align, right? You can't, if politics is happening in the workplace and you're there and they're still the ones paying your salary, you can't ignore it. If you ask those that have ignored politics in the workplace, they are most likely not growing. Because what exactly do you call politics? Is basically how people behave in a certain organization. Politics could be a culture within an organization, so you can't ignore that. So what I tell people is, recognize people for who they are.
Right.
There are alliances in the office.
Right.
Who is the boss? Who carries the CEO, but who is making the decision? Who is the person whose decision you cannot go against? How are you countering opinions, right? There are some battles that you don't just say, oh, because I'm coming with. For instance, I made a post on LinkedIn once, and it went really viral where I said that just because you're a new employee, don't discard old employees. Don't think you're the ones coming to solve problems. Whatever problems you think you're coming to solve, people before you have tried to.
Right.
So you need to learn the rudiments of the workplace when you first get there before you start trying to change things. Because as human beings, we are resistant to change. So the first thing, anywhere you go, any organization you're working, and you want to introduce or implement any change, you have to be very, very emotionally intelligent about it.
Right.
Because anything you're trying to change, people are going to come for you. So being emotionally intelligent is the key to surviving any workplace politics. Listen, right? So what is being said or what is not being said, be careful with your words.
Right.
Right. Don't form alliances visibly, right? Be very certain about who makes the rules or how the thing works before you decide to go all out to show yourself.
If you're not a loner, you're someone who doesn't just like alliances, just wants to be left alone. They will be like, oh, this one is feeling herself, and it's bad enough you're now light-skinned and yellow. You know what I mean?
No, so funny enough, I think for that is even risky because you will just end up staying as an individual contributor. And that is what I'm saying as an experience.
Right.
If you're someone who I just want to be alone, I don't want to get promoted.
I don't necessarily not get promoted, right? Because there are situations, which we're going to come back to after we go on this short break, but there are situations where we find individuals who either they're on the spectrum or they're fantastic going by themselves. There are some persons whose dynamics are completely different. And I think that HR has not been able to crack the code when it comes to in people who are by default individuals and they thrive as individuals rather than being a team. And I understand that workplace culture means being a team player, but there's sometimes that if you realize this person is performing and the team is impossible, you can always have to, move around. But we'll get back to that. We've got to go on a break. When we come back, there's more. Stay with us. Don't go anywhere.
Africa needs its own storytellers, people who understand the continent because they're from it. People who know that news is more than just a conversation starter, it's our stories. Because these stories run deeper than headlines and segments. It's about digging deeper to get the facts and telling the human side of every single story, not just the echoes from foreign headlines and perspectives. It's time to take back our narratives and share them in our voices. The birth of Africa's New Age reporting, and this is where it begins, right here at News Central TV, with stories that put Africa first.
Andrew, welcome back. You're watching Literati here on News Central Television. My guest today is the author of a survival guide to surviving the concrete jungle of workplace for professionals. If you're struggling with office politics, microaggression, executive fatigue, the list is endless, all right? She's written this book for you. It's called 101 Workplace Secrets, Navigating the Workplace. Essentially, it's written by Teju Fola-Alade, and she mixes humor and just the right sense of wit and just hitting the right spots and in terms of what you need. Now, before the break, we're talking about office politics and navigating office politics. And I was asking, talking about how I believe that HR execs have not been able to crack the code in terms of personalities, and there are some individuals who do not care for workplace politics or are not politicking. They don't know how to politic. It's not even in their DNA to begin with, and they're just fundamentally individuals. Has the HR exec been able to crack the code in understanding personalities and knowing how best to fit them in the workplace?
Okay. So I think just to clarify, when we say politics, it doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to be something that you think. Don't let me use Nigeria as an example.
Unfortunately. Right? Unfortunately.
So it doesn't have politics. We practice politics in our homes. Sometimes when our parents are maybe quarreling, or our siblings or our children are fighting with one another, the way you manage both parties, or when you have something left at home, the way you want to share it, is the same thing about the workplace. Politics is basically you trying to be emotionally intelligent, managing all the personalities in the office,
right,
and how you thrive together. So politics is inevitable in the workplace. How you contribute to it as a staff, for instance, also to understand that there's so much personality and culture an organization can have or accommodate. That is why it's important that an organization has a culture, that everyone who is joining that culture will be able to abide by it. It's the same thing with politics. If you have a toxic CEO or a toxic CEO or even toxic HR, unfortunately, you can't build anything good out of those. So politics, basically, it's how organizations behave, or how they promote, how they reward, or how they sanction employees. So whatever individual personality an employee is bringing into the organization, if you're a performer and you know that you're coming to an organization where your performance does not matter, the CEO or the HR only promotes people that come from the CEO directly, or people who drop half of their salary at the end of the month. That's the politics of the organization. So there's so much. HR is not responsible for managing politics. All the leaders, all the employees, the side gossips at the kitchenettes, the whispers, the relationships among colleagues. Those are the things that are contributing to politics. So you and I, HR, the CEO, the head of sales, the front desk receptionist, everyone is responsible for how politics is formed in the organization. Now, if you are coming into an organization and you know already, you've been told that, salaries get paid on the 14th of every month or on the 20th of every month, you can't start throwing tantrums on the 18th that salaries have not been paid. The minute you start acting against the accordance of the organization, that makes you toxic to the business. So that is basically my own perception and what politics basically means. We are all responsible for the politics or the culture an organization reflects. It doesn't sit with HR.
As we're talking about politics and internal politics, really, it made me wonder. So you're talking about family, you're talking about, components of that, that comprise of a unit, and how those components can have conflict, and, there's always conflict and resolution. And so you have an extensive experience, both at startup level and corporate level, which means small organization and a larger organization. In those two, which have had the most internal politicking?
I won't answer that.
It's two questions now that you have not answered. I'm keeping count. It's two questions you have not answered.
I won't answer that. Like I said, my experiences are out there. Any response I give,
I can answer that, okay? I need the camera on me because I'm going to tell you, I can answer that, right? The both. You know what I mean? Like the both. But what's most shocking is the smaller one. The smaller one wasn't necessarily a startup, you know, but the smaller one was actually what was baffling, because the ones who had been longer at that organization, the persons who had been longer in the organization, somewhat became old guards, if that made any sense. And they were the ones who were now, you know, feeding into that culture. And what was even most baffling and startling was that the owner of this organization sort of aided that behavior, if that made any sense. And so it was, I don't know why I stayed at that place for too long. To me, it was too long, but you know what I mean, yeah.
So I currently work for a multinational, and one of the things I tell people that are on board or during trainings, and I reiterate, is that we do not reward longevity here. I don't recommend anyone for promotion, or we don't look at files and say, oh, this person has been here for long. Oh yeah, add 100,000 to this person. I'm very clear on that, and I make that, like, it's a culture now. It's based on performance. It's based on your output. It's based on so many things. So both organizations have, the reason most people think startups have maybe more dirty or internal politics, because it's smaller. Yeah. So you can feel the components.
Right.
If the CEO is angry with you, it's easy for him to open the door and just maybe snap or say a few words, or you have access to the CEO. Unlike a very well-structured corporate organizations where you need to go the 10th floor to get to see the CEO. The politics it's more mature. So it could be more subtle. Does not mean it's not more pronounced, or it's not more toxic. But for me, I think wherever you have more than one person, where you have people that were not raised by the same parents, you would have politics play. Where you have people having to perform or having to show skills to ensure retention, you would always have politics. So
yeah, we're pressed for time. So, but you have not answered two questions in this thing, and this your book has been described as unfiltered. So I'm just saying, was there anything you wanted to include that you decided this might be too brutal, too risky? Because I've asked you two questions, I said it's too risky. Cannot answer. People are watching. They know you.
I don't want to be cancelled. My name is there. Maybe if I'd been writing under a pseudonym or everyone, my name Teju Fola-Alade, you put it like, oh, so this is the person. I still try to be emotionally intelligent, because at the end of the day, my brand is still affiliated with organizations that still exist. Right. So I have to be careful. And I also didn't want to write about specific organizations. So yeah, I mean, there's going to be another edition that will be more brutal.
Oh.
So
but then you'd have left those organizations and can write, Abby. No, I'm waiting. You come back. Don't worry, I'm here.
So yeah, absolutely. I left, not even tied to organizations, but there are some truth that I don't want to start having to explain, you know.
Anyway, but before we wrap up, because we're pressed for time, let's have some fun. All right, it's a segment we like to call Humor Judith.
Okay.
Segment is why I ask you rapid fire questions, and you have to answer as quickly as possible. Are you ready?
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Oh, she's in for some fun. Worst corporate buzzword?
Circle back.
Circle back. Put a pin on it.
Circle back.
Circle back. Yeah, it's a circle back. Coffee or tea to survive a Monday morning?
Coffee.
I know, that's right.
Coffee.
Mine is Saturday morning. Because Saturday is literally where my week starts. Here, yeah. One word your colleagues would use to describe you?
Unpredictable.
Unpredictable. Wow. Most embarrassing work moment.
I can't remember. I think it would be when I had my camera turned on and I was doing something that was not supposed to be doing during a leadership meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how my MD called me, and then I was cutting meat. I was like, no, I cut it smaller. They said, Judith, meet you. I'm like,
Yeah, that would be it. That would be it.
And it was I didn't even know the meeting was going on. I had lost track of
Man,
time.
that's my
And so I
fear.
joined in, and I didn't mute my thing. And then they said, Judith, can you hear you? Meet you? Sorry.
That's a big
Yeah, it was
fear.
so, listen, I came back to the office and I apologized to everyone. They didn't even care. I'd forgotten. But anyway, dream vacation destination.
Okay, Singapore.
Yeah, Santorini. A book you have read more than once.
How to be, think like a boss, act like an entrepreneur or something.
Oh, nice.
A CEO, act like an entrepreneur.
Purple Hibiscus, I think 18 times now. Purple Hibiscus by Chima Ngozi Adichie.
Nothing is coming to mind.
Oh, no. Early bird or night owl?
Night owl.
Same here.
Night owl.
Favorite Nigerian dish?
Yam and egg.
Yam and egg. Your personal mantra for getting through a tough day?
Don't major in the minor.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Mine is everything that wants to go bad will go bad. Keep it moving. Just don't dwell on it. Keep it moving. Don't dwell.
That's
Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Don't dwell. If there was one outdated corporate practice you could abolish forever, what would it be and why?
Resumption time.
Oh, why? Why?
Because I think that also, the pressure, the stress of getting to work also contributes to how productive someone's day can go.
Thank you.
So if you spend so much time worrying or leaving home early, it has already ruined part of your day.
And in a city like Lagos,
it's
thank
crazy.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
That would be it. Resumption
Thank
time.
you. It's been wonderful having you, Teju, on the
Thank
show.
you,
This is sublime, wonderful discussions. What do you hope for your readers to take away from this book very quickly because we're out of time? And young professionals, most importantly, young professionals.
Yeah, so for young professionals, I hope they get to learn how to thrive in the workplace. It doesn't have to be so hard. They don't have to go through what we went through, right? They can take the learnings, thrive better, understand how to manage office politics, how to manage up. That's their line managers and other leaders in the organization. And I think that would also accelerate their career.
How to manage up and just climb up the ladder.
Exactly.
Teju, many thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much, Juliet.
Teju Fola-Alade, she is the author of 101 Workplace Secrets. Go grab the book if you can and just climb up the ladder. Or if you just want to be stuck, it's okay. So you shall learn how to manage everything when it comes to navigating the concrete jungle that is the corporate workplace. My name is Judith. I've been your host. This is where we close the curtain for this installment of Literati. Until next time, when I come your way, keep reading. Bye.
News Central TV, with stories that put Africa first.